Do you confirm that usually the ones that appreciate the most your work are the ones that also pay more?
Yes, usually they're also more quiet.
I'm thinking, okay, we are fucked. We have to.
I think that ChatGPT is going to basically have like.
How long have you been working together, you two?
So actually, we've been knowing each other for very, very long time. Like we were in medium school, so
Okay.
we've been like knowing each other for like 15 years. But our work together basically started roughly 3 years ago.
Okay.
So
And now you're in Canary Islands, both,
Yeah.
right now?
Was it a business decision, or you just met here, or you talked together and you were like, okay, let's move together to Canary Islands, let's continue with business? How was the decision?
basically during the process of developing the business, we were like always looking for moving ourselves outside Italy, because we couldn't really recognize with either the environment, as we were also saying before, but also to have, let's say, a better lifestyle. So both,
Yeah.
let's say, either business and either, let's say, lifestyle decision.
Nice. Did you have any other option, or Canary Islands right away?
We had many different options, but the truth is that a half is a decision-based, a working-based decision.
Right.
Another half is, as Ferdinando mentioned, it's all about lifestyle. So, okay, we can go to Bulgaria, we can go to another place, but the thing is, do you really want to live there for 6 months, a year, for the rest of your life, or for
A couple of years, maybe. Just,
Yes.
Just a season.
that's it.
probably,
Yeah.
Okay. And what you're doing right now? So what's your main activity? We talked about your kind of clients, what you're doing, but I think it's really interesting. So what are you focused on with your company at this moment?
So from a, let's say, a business perspective, at the moment we are actually developing two branches both in the other agencies. So
Okay.
we have one agency, as mentioned, is a little bit more broad focused on, let's say, general sort of services for clients. So a little bit more open. And the other one is a little bit more vertical on the e-commerce. So I'd say for the more the broader ones, we're actually trying to establish those clients and procedures for this client space, and making the SOPs especially and the acquisition phase for the e-commerce one. So either, let's say, establishing the work that has been done in 2022, making a little bit more formal, more like
Structured in a way.
in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. And we were discussing before about a lot of different topics in this industry, but it's interesting. Like, you're seeing, I think, a lot of different local entrepreneurs, different businesses, companies of whatever kind of industry they're in. So what's the biggest problem you're seeing in any business you're maybe talking with? I'm not talking about your clients, but I think you're seeing maybe the world, the entrepreneurial world, with your filters based on your experiences. So you see problems other people don't see. So what do you think is the biggest problem for a business that maybe is 20, 30 years old, or maybe also a business that is just starting out, talking about the digital part, the social media, the marketing, your stuff, basically?
Basically, the main problem we see, like as you mentioned, we operate with many different clients in many different niches and many different situations. So it's difficult to say just one common problem, but the biggest one is knowing what they are asking for, having a perspective in which they know they have a problem, they know they have a gap between where they are and when they want to go, and recognizing that there are kind of different channels, different solutions. They don't, a lot of times they don't know, they are not structured enough, or in some different geographical areas, they don't have any kind of skill set on that. So they are not aware of their problem. They are not aware about their solutions. So one thing we have to face with is usually we had to, because then we narrowed down our target to more structured businesses. But in the past, we had to start from scratch, completely from scratch. Even if the business was pretty successful,
the company itself.
Yeah, the company itself was successful on their offline, on their offline presence. When we turn to online presence, it's completely a different world. And it's completely different culture, and we know technology evolves way faster than culture. So this is the main problem in my perspective.
I think also for some way it's like sort of, I mean, some companies, when you have to like approach to a complex work, for example, like client acquisition on getting results through a business, I think some companies are, depending on size, but basically they either lack a little bit of clarity. So one of our challenges is, for example, give direction to the clients and say, okay,
so I mean, understand what's going on.
Yeah, they want to, as Riccardo was mentioning, getting to a point, and let's say our job is to, we should start from here, following here, step by step. So I think that from the digital compo, because you have like many channels, you can use different strategies to grow.
Absolutely.
So as a professional, as we always try, to get the best approach for that particular client to get them the results they want, which is the main challenges if you run like an agency,
Right.
So I think this is sort of.
And what about their expectations? Because I've had experience a couple of years ago, not at your level in this. I was focused only on the real estate agencies market, basically. It was just that. But I've seen like one of the most interesting thing was about the kind of effort they had to put on the table in order to get results offline. So they have big expenses, like for example, a real estate agencies, the average maybe is like between 8 to 12K per month in expenses. Normal, like with a small area to manage. And correct me if I'm wrong or if you are not seeing this, but they expect a lot of time that with the online, we should invest just 1K and we should get 10 real estate properties sold, even if we invest like 10, 20 times more for the offline part. Are you experiencing this with them, like the kind of expectation they have about what you're gonna do?
Absolutely yes, and this is why you are seeing us laughing, because it's something that happened all the time, especially in the past, but this is something that we have to manage. Like, we know it's like that. Mm-hmm. We know we have to face it in the best possible way. So we set the expectations. Right. We have to, and this is something that we don't do just in the onboarding phase. We do it before. We do it while selling, saying, okay, I won't promise you the moon with $100 investing $100. So we always go through this process in which we understand their needs, and we say, okay, this is your starting point, you want to go here, we are going to show you the path,
right?
And the path, and so we set the expectation. Usually they start, as you said, they start with super high expectations on the online. They have these bias on the online, about the online world. So for them, investing on, let's say, 20K per month on something physical, it's always worthwhile.
Sure. Yeah.
While, okay, I'm investing €100 per day in Facebook ads, I want to get like 1 million per day in revenues, and it's not,
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all.
It's just, and I think also what's interesting is that some of them, it is sort of like a bias. They still keep investing, for example, in some sort of advertising. For example, once we had a client, I know what you're thinking about, that he invested a lot of money for some, local, posters, like, guys, fairly amount of money for the results should have been like how many impressions do you get with that posters if you had invested that money in some channels that you would have way more massive, impressions. And
at least first.
Yeah. So like planting like a giant posters on a very high traffic street and that stuff, but everybody when we drive, for example, I don't know how much you care about that. Me, like no.
No, right.
So sometimes it's sort of like they have this sort of or either unrealistic expectation, for example, as well as they have some bias. They say, no, I know that some brands they invest in that sort of advertising, so I should do that too, and they don't care, that they can get through the online so much more exposure.
So I would say that your job was not to only get very good at marketing and all the skills that you acquired, but also managing all these people that are not understanding the potential. They don't understand how much they can get in return with their investment. So you're really good also at talking with these people and managing all the things that they have in mind and they're not understanding. A big part.
Communication side. Yeah. It was like huge.
Yeah.
It's all about negotiation all the time because for some of them, it's always a matter of perception.
Okay.
Like some of them, they value, like you expect, when you start, you expect everyone is valuing just profits, just margins, just revenues. It's not like that.
Absolutely,
like we have a lot of big clients that they of course they care about their revenues, they care about the sustainability of their model and our model, but sometimes perspective and perceptions are really different. So if they see a like a particular growth on one of their media channels, they are super happy, and sometimes they see like they spend $500 in advertising with a combined strategy with email marketing, etc. Everything. They get like 100 times or more then, and they are less happy. Like
that's crazy. I was studying that from an Italian mentor. I studied from the marketing side, not to do to use marketing for like my stuff. And this is a huge thing, like about the difference between the value you guys feel for the product, for the services you're offering, and the different value of the clients. Like for example, with some programs we develop with some students. Some students are investing in the programs just to tell themselves, oh, I am studying, I'm not watching Netflix, but then they don't apply anything.
Yeah.
And we have to be good with that because only 1% of the clients feel the same value as we feel with whatever products we have.
The most successful ones, I believe.
With us, it was entrepreneurs with multiple companies, multimillionaires.
The best students were the ones that were already entrepreneurs, that they wanted to get in another business, or maybe they wanted to see some different
and they value your time. They value their time.
I have a question. How many, if we can say, how many clients do you have at the moment, or in general? Earlier you were telling me a little bit that
how many projects you
are developing many projects.
In the initial phase, we had like more in the first years of activity, we had so much more projects, and this has been really useful to develop certain skills, either from operational work, team management, business decision, or whatsoever. But over time, we are like shifting on, let's say, less clients that like pay more. So
nice.
Between, I don't know if we want to disclosure this, like between maybe 15 or let's say 20, let's say something like that.
Okay.
On the most stable ones, but we're also always shifting to get less but more quality relationship with clients, because it's also very nice and to work with clients that appreciate your work, and also you can develop a human relationship. It's not just
And do you confirm that usually the ones that appreciate the most your work are the ones that also pay more?
Yes, and usually they're also more quiet. You don't hear from them very often. They let you work, and the ones that I don't know. Like if you think the same, I think
absolutely like that. It's always like that. It's like an unwritten law in which the less they pay, the more they want, and vice versa. It's like
always.
We were discussing before, like when we were drinking the coffee about Alex Hormozi. Alex Hormozi in his book talks about the more they invest, the more invested they are, and they've done some studies about like they placed people to try different wines, 3 different bottles of wines, but they were able to see the front side, and the price, right? And 100% of the people at the end of the test was like, yeah, the cheapest one was, the medium one was okay, and the most expensive one was amazing.
Was great.
And it was the same fucking wine, but the fact of having an higher price, like they were giving more value to that just for that, because they were more invested. So I think it's a great lesson also for other people in other industries maybe, but the more they invest, the more invested they are. And I think in your industry it's really big, like the difference also for you're peaceful when you work with them, probably.
100%. Because the thing is, people who are able to think about investing on a long term, because then we also have to think about that. People sometimes they want to invest in and getting results in 1 month, or they don't have this this long path in their mind, which should always be the first thing you have in your mind. Then you build your short-term your short-term tactics and operationals. But basically, there is lack sometimes in this part. But people who are used to invest their time, their money, are usually the ones that already had a lot of experiences. Even if not in this field, even if not in this channel, but they know how to work, and they don't have so much time to spend. So they value their time, they value your time. So they say, okay, we say, and they say, we set it together. We say, okay, those are the slots in which we can talk, we can have your feedback, we can ask for your feedback. But basically, apart from this, we won't have so much chatting, so much Google Meets, Zoom calls, etc. When we started, and we had a lot of clients, but they were like low-ticket clients. Let's put it this way.
Was that 2020?
Yeah, it was
a later stage, because at the beginning,
it was
like
how
more.
Did you start?
Was more. I mean, the beginning was mostly related to the e-commerce industry, and we started with a drop shipping business model.
Okay, together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
And we had several projects, and I mean, some of them went so, some other bad, some other better, but we acquired a lot of the skills that we're using today, or at least the foundations, of course. This also was very useful to build, be relentless when you fail, which is absolutely crucial at the beginning.
You didn't stop.
Yeah, and over time, you see, sometimes you even recognize it on a day-to-day basis, but at the end, like after
6, 12, 18 months.
You say you're on a different stage, and you look back and say, we started like from there. So we started, let's say, from the drop shipping business model, and this developed a lot of, let's say, as mentioned, the skill that we're using today. Then we shifted to the more agency-based model.
Yeah.
And
I think it's interesting. We were talking about the speed. How much speed was important in this process? Because you didn't start in like 2012. And
you started. You started 3 years ago.
I've just met you guys.
You're growing a lot and very fast. So.
And we can say you are in the top 1% in your industry. Talking about, at least you talk about results. A lot of agencies don't even talk about results, and that was the first thing from you. So let's talk about speed. I don't know if you.
How was speed important in your decision-making process and all the decisions that you needed to make in order to develop your business and move on, or maybe move here or develop your business?
It reminds me a little bit of like Andrew Tate that says something like that.
Controversial.
Might be controversial. Oh yes, but it's like, from a business perspective, speed is like everything. We are of the approach that if you can take a good decision now, of course, it doesn't need to be like rushed. But we tend to postpone the least as possible. And this has been, I think, crucial, adapting from one business model to another, correcting, the trajectory when things were not going as we wanted to go with that speed. And sometimes, we want to still go, even faster sometimes.
I understand.
And I'm sure you can relate, like going super fast, but sometimes you need to, can be patiently, impatient sometimes.
Yeah. You have to
So-
play between the patience and the
Yeah.
speed.
And
the-
that's like also, I think, a big challenge, you know. And
That's amazing. That's so
yeah.
interesting as a channel.
I believe you get so much better when you try to make fast decisions, but at the same time you try to make good decisions.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
of course sometimes you are going to make a wrong decision, but the next time you're getting better and you're getting better and you're getting better, and then you're training yourself to make good decisions fast.
Yeah.
So that's
And we
that's
need
really,
a lot of like then Kennedy says, bad decision or wrong decision is better than no decision.
right.
Yeah.
At least we learn, at least we do. Because, for example, you started with drop shipping like 3 years ago, whatever it was. Some people started drop shipping same month you started, and it's still trying to figure out how to set up the store.
Right.
So that's the huge difference about playing with speed. I wanted to ask you something. What's the craziest client you had in these last 2 years? Like the craziest, the most funny story if we never met again,
Yeah.
and I want to know that.
We're scanning, you know. Like,
Yeah.
Like,
So many.
These
because
or these or
also we're
these.
structured in a way that on some clients like we work together,
Okay.
but usually we have our own branches of, you know.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
So
We can have two different answers.
yeah.
no,
Probably
we have
good.
too many options. This is the problem. Like I just
Too
have
many
to-
crazy
We
stories.
just have to pick one. Well, the craziest one.
Probably a low ticket one, right?
Sometimes also high ticket ones,
Okay.
but it's very like way more rare that they
Yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe Tammy. I don't know.
Tammy, the affiliate marketer.
No, she
Okay,
was,
yeah, that's
She was
kind
a
of-
crazy one. She was a
Okay.
crazy one.
What was
Do you
crazy?
want to censor the name later, or it's okay? I'm
I
joking,
think it's
but-
okay. I mean,
As soon as we have it like that,
Depends on what you say in the next couple of seconds.
no, I mean one nice thing during the the early stages we had, as mentioned, like a lot of projects, and this means that we've been working, guys, in niches, a lot of niches. Every niche maybe you can think about at the beginning we've been working in, and Tammy was into the, how can I say, like psychology, but in like astrology, prediction, like
Yeah, I understand.
yeah, I don't know, like you got me, like
Esoteric.
yeah,
point of
sort of
view,
like that.
yeah.
She's like an affiliate. We had to build
So
an email.
affiliate marketing on
Yeah, they were.
educational.
She was an affiliate. No, she was an affiliate for several companies
Okay.
that basically, they were like predicting the future. That
Okay.
sort of thing. So
Okay.
She wasn't the one doing it. She was an affiliate of
Selling
other
wasn't
products.
yeah, selling basically the offers.
What was that?
Okay,
Like
okay.
Zoom webinars,
No,
courses.
no, simple, basically like
Or there
affiliate
was
through
therapies.
clicks.
Okay.
Okay, so she was having their own database of, let's say, users and
Okay.
promoting offers, like basically
okay.
affiliate marketing.
Okay.
And I don't know, I think it's sort of like funny that, I don't know, seeing as well some replies from these sort of like clients, it's sort of like weird niche, guys. I don't know, how big the market can be if there's like, people that actually invest time to put the money and attention to these sort of things.
Okay.
Like,
You got confused a little bit by that kind of.
yeah, I said,
Let's-
wow, a lot of people, like, a lot
and
of
let's add one point, and then
Yeah.
maybe we cut it. But our relationship, which is the crazy part, our relationship ended because once we were working on that, like we were, as always we do, we go closer with the business model, so we understand
Yeah.
better and better over time. And it was like something was not working. Like we had the possibility, the opportunity to see certain things, not everything. So once Ferdinando asked to this girl, but how does exactly work? She answered like,
yeah, I remember.
it's a complete scam. Like she told us, like, okay guys, I will be honest, it's a complete scam, and this is how it ended our relationship. Because
This answer
yeah,
ended
it's a complete scam. Okay.
That was a pleasure.
we have worked on that.
But I think that of course from like her perspective, that was sort of like a scam, because I think nobody here in this room believes that you can predict, I don't know, but Nobody like predict the future on that stuff. But that people, they were like signing up. I think they really believed in that. They believed in that.
I mean, that's a really singular industry.
Yeah.
I met because we didn't talk about this before, but based on my father experiences, I've talked with a lot of people like this in a certain way, not scamming with that, but different kind of therapies with different kind of beliefs, even on this kind of stuff. But there is like 90% of the people, for my experience at least, on this predicting the future stuff, there is insecure clients or patients that are hoping to receive like, this is gonna happen, this is gonna be great, this is gonna be bad. But the thing is that they acquire that as a belief, and they trust that as if it was real. There is some people like analyzing based on different kind of techniques your situation right now, but the predicting the future stuff, I think is complete BS. The predicting the future stuff, it doesn't make sense for me. So I agree with that. There is somebody probably that is
No, but she was like super crazy as well. Like she was.
Well, she was the first one saying, "Oh no, it's a scam, guys." But
it's a complete scam. She's talking about the money. I don't care. It's like a scam. Okay. Like she was from Australia, right?
Yeah.
I think from Australia.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. No, Israel.
Israel.
She was from
Yes.
Israel.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
But basically, it's not because, as Ferdinando mentioned, we worked with any possible niche, any possible you can have in your mind. It's not the niche itself; it's the individual.
the actual person.
Yes, that's it. So sometimes and crazy people always in our like in our field, crazy people are the ones that don't value your time. So basically they ask for infinite revisions, they ask for a revision and then they ask for changing it several times, etc. Those are small things. This is the day by day, but this is the real issue we had and we have.
How did you solve this? Like, do you have a list of rules they must follow in order to stay your clients, or do you just set different expectation in the beginning?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
When you
We
told
try.
the first time, you're like,
we learn to filter.
don't do this, don't do this, don't do
Yes.
And
yes.
while onboarding, we also do so. So we set expectations, we set channels. So we set the whole thing down. So we set channels for us to communicate, to receive feedbacks, as well as the scope of work. We break it down into, if it's 1 year project, let's say 1 year contract, then we break it down into the whole strategy into different tactics and with specific time frames so they can see it.
They can see the process.
Yes,
like,
they can see the whole process and they know what to expect, because sometimes one of the most important things we learned over time is we have to say, like, when you have this kind of relationship with the client and they are always used to see you and to talk with you directly with you, you are the one that has to set the expectation, because otherwise, like, it's a relationship as all the other human relationships. So if you don't set the expectations right in the first place, then it's close to impossible to change them over time with the same person.
You set them there.
It's also for their own benefits, actually.
Absolutely,
For us, of course.
For your
and but also for them, because they can adapt to your processes, always to gain the focus that our services, the stuff we do is to deliver results to them ultimately. And
it's oriented on that.
Absolutely.
And that's a big deal, because I have friends in this industry, and honestly I will not say the name, but I've talked with so many people like that was telling me, we have no case studies, we have no results with our clients, we have no nothing, and they're trying to sell i-ticket subscriptions, stuff that they are fucking the market up. For you guys, I think it's a thing to discuss with the clients. Like, how many clients do you usually, like, let's say you close 10 clients that last 3 months, okay? And out of 10 clients, how many of them had bad experiences with other agencies? Kinda like yours. Like,
if they already tried digital marketing at least once, it's like 10 out of 10. Like, the thing is, they didn't try it never, so they didn't have any past experience, or if they have it, they have at least one bad past experience. And this is why the term agency is so has this positioning in their minds in I'd say in all over the world, because we thought it was just in Italy. If you use it in Italy, when we used to take care about local clients, if you say the wording, if you use the wording agency, people won't put their trust in you, because they have been scammed in a certain sense, in a certain way from previous agencies. So there is a strong and powerful work that we have to do in order to
you need to change their beliefs.
And we have to acquire their trust.
Right.
Once they have their trust, they are always more calm. They are always because they trust the process. They trust us, so they trust the process.
And they don't have the filter of like agency. Oh my god, agency. And you were telling us this before. So you really put conscious effort on not using that word, right? On paying attention on how you present yourself in a unique way.
This also depends, I'd say, on the negotiation, the clients that you're facing. But I think one also very important point is that sometimes, and this is actually one of the challenges that we are facing, is that finding a team person that is able to communicate like we do with the clients, transmit that sort of like trust and create that connection. And this is also quite, I'd say, difficult for some ways. That's
because now you started like the two of you guys, and then you expanded the team during the last 2 years, but it's growing, so you are training people, you're experiencing, you're learning also from that side. What was the craziest thing on the team side that happened with a client?
Craziest on team side,
like, or everything was smooth with the team, just
no.
I'd say once when we got here, almost 1 year ago, we had just closed a great client. It was a great contract, and it was really difficult to manage because not difficult, it was complex. So there were a lot of parts in it because it's a business that operates in different countries. So it's the same business, but it's in different countries with different time zone strategies, etc. And we had already trained one of our ex-internal team members, and she was very good at it. Like, she learned very fast, and Ferdinando trained her on this project because it was a kind of different scope of work compared to the others. So we got here. After a couple of weeks, we were here, so we were struggling with everything, finding a home, like keeping our clients happy, keeping delivering results, etc. It was a crazy period of our life, and all of a sudden, these girls one day calls us and say, "Guys, it's like we are really. I feel you like friends, but I can't go like that. I want a 9-to-5 job. I want to go back to
you
studies.
Were going
like
too hard.
I want
she
to
got
go.
back to,
It was like
really?
She was on a different, on a different mindset, on a different level of expectations and perception. And again, this is something that we learned on our skin. Like then we know, okay, it's not everyone searching for the same thing. Everyone is searching for their direction, their path. But the craziest thing was they were in this crazy period, and all of a sudden we were without the most important person in the team on the most important project, without having anything here.
How did you face that? With speed?
There were like 24 hours breathing and thinking, okay, we are fucked. We have to
overnight hours as well to getting speed. Higher speed. No, that's the only thing. And but in the end we managed it. So
So earlier you were really putting the attention into, you were saying we worked with any type of niche. So I have a question. Lately it has been, on Instagram, on social medias, a lot of people are making some courses about a new trend. This new trend is having an agency for OnlyFans models. Have you worked in that industry as well?
Not in the OnlyFans directly. Some niches were a little bit more on that, let's say, branch some ways. But in terms of like a good market for this, definitely there is like a good market for this in terms of services.
Yeah.
I'm not very into that. I don't know how services are composed in that way. Like if there are...
It's because once we have collaborated with people who are related to this niche, with businesses related to this niche, it was more something about products. So it was not managing a service or a personal brand, while it was managing products, like all the different kinds of products that you can imagine.
Okay.
I was asking because it's really a trend that a lot of people talk
course.
about, and it's really popular nowadays. Have you thought about going into that direction, or you're more focused into other businesses that have maybe higher, that want to pay more for advertising and want to invest more into their business?
The thing is, we have tested different strategies, different models, and we are 100% sure that we can deliver results for e-commerce, let's say, with email marketing strategies that we developed over time. So basically, we don't chase the trend, because usually if you chase the trend, you always lose the focus from what you were doing previously, and you're not going to scale what you were doing. So, and this is something that I really try to remember to myself every day, and this is from Alex Hormozi. Like, you have to narrow down one product, one niche, one angle, you go one channel, and you go. So basically, we are really focused on that. Maybe one day when we are going to expand our business, not just as in the digital marketing field, but also in many related and not related things, we can think about that trend in that moment. But on this level, we go straight ahead with our direction.
That's a great lesson, actually.
Yeah.
We have learned on our skin too. Everything we learned from reading or on our skin.
Nice.
Yeah.
And do you have an industry that you really enjoy more when you find a client in that industry for some reason, or is not the thing? It's not about the industry, it's just about the person you're working with.
I think at this stage is mostly the person right now. In terms of the industry, not really. But yeah, finding good clients, a good person to work and to grow as well, because that's also really important. It really motivates us to grow ourselves and grow the business and achieving more and more goals.
I would say I'm imagining all of your interactions with your clients, and I imagine that you meet also a lot of interesting people, because I take my example. Before all of this, I was just trading in my room. I was not really meeting a lot of people, not really networking. But you must meet a lot of interesting people. Do you have, having many clients and also high-ticket clients, do you have any interesting positive story about on any of your clients?
I think one client that is the one that also we've been speaking at the coffee with, with the legal firm.
Yeah.
I have utmost respect for her, because she has been doing sort of like the transition between their 9 to 5, let's call it like that, to the entrepreneurial stage. And she's also very, we really enjoyed as well developing this project, because we've seen this transition, and has been really, really interesting seeing her moving from the 9 to 5 to she's becoming now an entrepreneur, and she's really good at it.
Nice.
So, and for some way, it's also like, let's say, an inspiration, work with people that is on your same, let's say, mission, different, goal, different things.
They want to grow, they want to evolve.
But she's very ambitious,
nice.
as we are. She works hard as we are. So you
Yeah.
grow like together, and so
It's important to feel that thing with the people you interact with.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's great the story of this client you have, because it was not even an entrepreneur before. And
Yeah.
that's a really
Correct.
interesting thing to see, like the process, because I've seen that we have seen with some students seeing the switch before 9 to 5 and then changing it. It's really emotional too, because I mean
Yeah.
you see one life changed completely.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, and you're part of it. I imagine it's like really, really motivating seeing that you are one of the reasons why they are making it, basically. So that's very nice.
Yeah. I wanted to go back to a topic we discussed with the coffee. I don't know how deep we're gonna go on this, but until November, one of the
Yeah.
most the highest skills on the market was like the copywriting one, right? So I'm not a copywriter. I've never been a copywriter. We only hire if we need copywriters.
Mhm.
But what's your idea, your perspective on how the world just changed, like 2 months ago, in your industry with ChatGPT?
I think that ChatGPT is going to basically have like I mean, as we were also like saying, we're just exploring like a very small part of it. And in all the component of the content marketing, all the component also of like work procedure, having like
Yeah.
a tool right beside you that is able to think better, smarter, quicker than you some way.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's going to be, I mean, we're making like a massive use of this tool in like day is always open there, you know, in the tab.
Yeah.
It's your best friend now.
Yeah.
It was Ricardo before. Now
Yeah,
it's
now it's
No,
ChatGPT,
yeah.
man. I mean, I'm
You
sorry,
too,
I'm
like,
sorry,
it's
man.
like-
friendship.
I'm
fucked
sorry,
up.
man.
Shit happens, you know.
Just the other day, I sent you like a message
Yeah.
in the group.
Like
I'm loving ChatGPT, man. You know, something like,
my
that.
son.
It's like my son. Like a true love, like one of the sons, something like that.
Okay.
But for sure it will have, especially like as well with the I'm very curious to see like the image creation as well, because in
Yeah.
terms of like
How
written
gonna
form
evolve,
it's really
yeah.
I'm very curious to see that how it's gonna evolve.
Yeah, and on top of that, the whole the whole digital marketing and the whole working class will be completely impacted by
Yeah.
by this revolution. We are seeing, like, I feel we are exploring just 0.1% of this,
Absolutely agree,
like
yeah.
of its potential, and we're going to see, like, I see the puzzle, I see the dots that are connecting, because we
Yeah.
have AI on one side, then we have blockchain on the other side,
Yeah.
then we have metaverse in the other, and then once you connect all those
That would be
those
crazy.
spots that seems to be divided, that will be
Yeah.
a complete different world.
Yeah. And
Completely.
it's not gonna be like in a long time from now.
Absolutely.
It's-
No, it's
Yeah.
just a matter of a couple of years.
Yeah.
I know you guys are already seeing in your head how you are optimizing all of your business with ChatGPT and all of these new things that are coming out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is not a trend. Like if you,
Let's go there.
this is
yeah.
not a trend. This is something disruptive. So
Yeah.
if you are not able to recognize it and studying it and continuously improving yourself on it, you won't be able to survive in a certain
Yeah.
sense, because otherwise you will always have someone else who is doing it. And okay, you can survive for, it's not you're dead tomorrow, but the day after. Like with this speed, we
Yeah,
said
speed.
here speed is like exponential.
100%, it's
crazy.
everything.
It's crazy. We were talking about that. We spent like on Christmas just
Yeah.
for the idea of working hard on Christmas. Basically, we had a Zoom together,
Yeah.
and in like 3-4 hours. And it's not like easy. We're not gonna discuss some specific strategies we are using both of us in
Yeah.
our companies, but like 3-4 hours, we were able to create a huge impact that we didn't create in like the 3 months before that.
Yeah, I would have taken probably a month or more to
Focus,
hire some people,
yeah.
find someone on Upwork,
Yeah.
do some stuff. And we were like, okay, let's do it. We have ChatGPT now. Let's see how hard we can push it.
Yeah.
And let's see if we approach ChatGPT in a certain way, how much we can get from it.
Exactly.
And it was just crazy. We switched everything on many parts of the
Yeah.
business that we have together.
And while we learn, the chat learns. So it's
It's gonna
amazing.
improve.
It's amazing, but it is important for people to understand this is not a trend. This is not like
Yeah. It's here to stay.
TikToks or Reels or something that maybe for 2 weeks will give you that bump. And I mean, we can use that too, but this is a tool. This is something that is gonna.
ChatGPT is here to stay and to grow, and for sure.
Yeah. So you guys met like 14 years ago?
Yeah,
something
kind
like that.
of 15. Yeah.
Because I had a really unique experience with Edward about this. How did you manage to start a business together, being so close as friends? Because it's like people start business with friends and like, oh yeah, it will be easy. He's my friend, but it can be so risky.
Right.
How did you approach that?
I think that's a really nice question because sometimes I think about this, and I think that we've been very lucky to to meet ourselves as well at certain point of our lives where we were sort of like ready to make a jump from our, let's say, previous works. As I was telling you guys before, we were in two different opposite fields. Like he was working in a company, I was in the police before. We didn't know exactly. We were a little bit, I think, unsatisfied. But we really didn't know why. So we met at that 2020. And so you have been seeing this about the drop shipping, about the all MBs. Let's try it out. And then it evolved. But
you were close friends before, for the last...
Yeah.
So how was it? Sometimes it's hard to have a business with a friend because it's hard to manage. Maybe it's hard to tell some things to your friend.
Or to listen to your friend telling you.
I think that for some way it's sort of like have this sort of like it's kind of can be difficult in some ways, but if you are I'd say mature enough, that's the word. It's not easy to, it's also sort of like needs, you don't know why, but it's working, it's working, and it can work only with certain type of people. And I feel, for example, with the Riccardo, it's with a lot we also have other friends that we have been cooperating, for example, on different sort of levels. Great people, very skilled, but there's something that you can bring up to a certain point.
We had similar experiences.
So
I think we were also very lucky in a certain way because you cannot build this kind of relationship with someone else from scratch today. Or at least this is something like my credence. My credence right now is I cannot build something, because when you have this bond, and you build it when you are a teenager, when you're a child, there is something really extremely powerful. So it can be a risk because, of course, each thing has the flip side. But it's something that we are aligned in our objectives. So even if we don't we talk once about one thing, then we already know that we are going into the same objective, into the same direction. So it's something like we don't know what each other is doing as
right now,
right now, the single project, the single client, etc. But I'm like 100% sure and comfortable knowing that he's managing those things, and he's and vice versa. So basically, there is this alignment in our objectives and in our ways to get the objectives. And then we are different people, so we have different ideas on how to get and how to achieve that objective. And this is the good part, because otherwise you are you need someone from the external point that gives you the bird view about your situation. And this is sometimes this is our bottleneck.
Less limits, because everybody of us has their own belief systems, and we think based on that belief system. So I think it's really helpful. We had a really similar situation.
We are friends since more than 10 years. But for us, what really worked was that we didn't work together for many years. We started,
and we were building businesses, each of us, for years.
He had his business, I had mine, and we never cooperated. And then at a certain point, around 6 months ago,
7 months ago, something like that,
we started a project together. But and we were really, really friends. We were really close. But one thing is that we talked together since the beginning.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, when we are working, we put the hat of work. And when we have to talk as friends, we put the hat as a friend. So sometimes it happened that
this morning it happened.
Yeah.
It was like, as a friend,
right,
this is the thing.
This is the thing. Or sometimes we are not in the same city and we are talking via Zoom. And at the beginning of the call, we connect and we're like, okay, are we doing this call to talk about our personal stuff? So with our friend approach, or are we talking about business and we go without filters, we tell each other if there's something to do better and all of this stuff.
It's about setting expectations even between the two of us, like every time, so there is no misunderstanding. It's like, this is business, bro. Then switch off. At the end, we will talk about what's happening with my girlfriend, your girlfriend, the office, whatever it is, like personal stuff, right?
Yeah. I find it very similar for somebody because you guys are basically aligned in terms of how, in this case, like conduct the work between yourself, how to interact with yourself. I find it also, we're like sort of like aligned in the long-term goals, how the place we want to live, how we want to, conduct our lives. And that, I think, actually make things work. Yeah. And that's why you can keep working with the same person, team. So it's sort of like, I think it's like alignment.
Yeah. I think that's the right word. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. With different, also like the skills we have are really different. And this is important, and I wanted to ask you something because we decided to manage like the roles. So we have like our eyes understanding what's going on, but I know I'm not good at some stuff and I'm great at some other stuff, and he knows the same thing too, and we don't compete with each other. It's just, you're gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, that's done, just do it. Like we need 1 hour of code per like 2 weeks, maybe even less.
Yeah, one call every 2 weeks.
Yeah. How did you manage the roles, the different roles in your company? Is it about the skills and the stuff to do, or is it about the projects? And maybe you have the same skill set, but you differentiate in the projects. How do you manage that part?
Yeah, I'd say it's more similar to the second option. So it's more project based. Okay. Basically, we have our core skill set is pretty the same. Then each one of us is more verticalized on some channels or some specific things. But basically, the thing is, we act as a company since day one. So basically, we had to think about everything. We had to learn everything because no one in our family is an entrepreneur or has this past experience. So basically, we had to do this path. We had to do all the different levels. We had to learn about administrative stuff, something related to laws, related to operations, related to sales, related to team management, leadership, etc. Then we have a bunch of activities in which each one of us is more or less specialized. But basically, we never compete on the same project, on the same thing.
It's more on the project side.
Because it's always, it happened in the beginning.
I mean, you learned probably this way.
Yes, it happened. So we had different bottlenecks. Okay, one of the first ones, it was this one. Like, okay, we are focusing on the same things while we have a bunch of other things to do, a wider perspective to see. Yeah. We should absolutely split our focus. Okay,
like you both knew how to solve a problem, but maybe you had every time 2 different solutions for the same problem, and you had to mix them, but it's none of the 2 solutions. If you mix, it's just messed up, something like that. Like,
or you lose a lot of time because you don't have this agility, this speed of implementation. Because today we have proven strategy, strategies, proven case studies. We know, we rely on something solid. Yeah. Given this fact, we can manage the whole process, the whole client without knowing. Like, he doesn't know maybe a couple of clients I'm managing. The same for me. I don't know at all anything about that.
Yeah. Okay.
But we know we are managing a certain amount and. Yes, of course.
You know, like he's doing that stuff. I don't know the details, but I know he's doing that stuff.
And then, of course, one of the most important things, and one of the things I like the most is when we have an issue, a problem, etc., we have really a problem, like a super extra fast problem solving mindset. But the thing is, it's really something that makes you rich to have one person with which you can you can share your thoughts, your problems, your
You create
challenges,
a synergy,
and also always when you achieve an objective, if you don't share with someone, it's not achieving it, at the fullest. Like, okay, I achieved this objective. I had it in my mind. All of us, I can perceive this. We are competitive people.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are really motivated, and we are also disciplined. So whether it's motivation or discipline, every one of us is going straight to a point.
Yes.
But making the journey with someone that you trust.
Yeah.
Is the key, because trust is something that you can't buy.
Yeah.
You have to build that.
And this is why, coming back to your previous question, this is why I think our competitive advantage in a certain sense is our relationship, like our friendship before business.
For some people it's the biggest problem, but in this way it's like the biggest advantage you can have.
In this case, yes.
I mean, I trust him, like, really. It's crazy. I could give him whatever bank accounts code. It's not even a thought because of the levels. And this is a hack. That's a great hack. Absolutely.
100%.
Because you might lose also a lot of energy. I mean, I don't know how it feels to, having like a business with someone that you don't trust, luckily. So, but I imagine that can be very energy demanding.
Yeah.
It's crazy, like mentally. Every second you're like, what if he just fucked me on some way? Like.
Yeah. How was your experience? If you want to share anything.
Yeah, like one specific experience. It was about when I was a couple of years ago. I was building in network marketing industry, right? And so a specific thing that happens in that industry is that you kinda can choose the people you're gonna work with. But it's not that true, because after that, if you start doing business with me, you can invite him and maybe I don't like him for some reason, right? And so what happened in my situation, and that one of the reasons why I decided to quit that and start my own things, have control, have power of creation and stuff like that. It was about jealousy and envious people. It was like crazy. And I didn't have the control to like say you're fired, because it doesn't work like that in that industry. Now we can do that basically with the company, but it was different. So that was the biggest problem. Basically, some people started to talk shit about me and my business partner, like really bad shit, false shit, to just change the perception of the other people of the team about us. I don't know why the fuck he did that, but it was crazy to go to events, work with the team, knowing that some people inside there, that team,
you couldn't trust them.
You cannot. I still, if I see some of those people, I would never trust them even for like 5 seconds. Keeping the water, no, I would bring the water with me because it's crazy. But the greatest thing for me was about the red flags I now see. Like I was talking with him yesterday night. I had so many people that tried to steal money, and they achieved that. I mean, I lost money with scams, not online scams. There is a lot of offline scams that you don't expect, because you get scammed only if you trust them. You don't get scammed by people you don't trust. You get scammed by those you trust. And while you trust them, you get scammed, and then you learn and you get red flags. And so I was talking with him yesterday night. I was like, bro, we're seeing so many red flags with any situation, any people. You perceive that. Like that behavior, similar to that person. So for me, it was a great experience, but it was bad. Like the idea of changing the perception about people just because they were envious of bigger results. Basically, that was one of the worst thing I experienced, and the best thing because of the lessons.
And I'm really sorry, of course, that happened, but at the same time, I'm grateful because you're bringing your experience, and you started very young. At 16 you started, and you made me understand
13.
before 13 actually, and then at 16 with network marketing. But I'm really grateful because I understood from your experience how to understand the red flags and how to avoid certain things and how to not get scammed.
Yeah.
Because fortunately, I didn't experience anything major and any major scam, but I really learned from what you experienced.
Yeah, I told you the stories, like really close people about that, and now red flags are clear. And this is another amazing thing. Like, we had different skills, we had different businesses. Like, we always communicate with each other in the last years. We were sharing the knowledge. Like, hey, Edward, I studied this. Hey, Nico, I studied this, and we were sharing, right?
Yeah.
But it was not doing this thing together. But now, having this different skill set, I'm learning years of stuff, and I think you guys can relate to this, because maybe you're studying something, he's not, and then you shared it, and in 1 hour you get 30 hours of stuff already filtered, and this is amazing.
Yeah.
When you
compound it, make it faster. Yeah.
Compound like crazy. Yeah.
Might be that before you were, maybe I remember, maybe the Canarian stuff. We were talking about the environment in Canary, something like that. Might be looking for the people.
Oh yeah, that they are meeting people in the volleyball court and
because you made me think now about that, because in terms like, having a boosting environment around you, these really, can leverage everything.
Absolutely. This environment is crazy also, because we've met you met some guys of the team like last year, but we met I think 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
I'm already learning a lot of stuff. I don't care if you try. My mantra is like, I don't care if you want to teach me something, I'm learning anyway. Mm-hmm. But I think we're learning a lot of stuff, and the more we were discussing this, the more we grow, the more we are aligned just on people, ambitious people focused on speed. It's crazy. Like 100% of the people we're talking with, new people, are focused on speed as much as we are.
We are,
And the social environment is one of the greatest hacks. I was explaining this to a student, because the way I see environment is really particular. Like, I start from the big environment, like the planet, where you're living, what's the laws, what's the stuff, and then you zoom in until the environment is like your smartphone. How do you manage the apps and stuff like that? But the social environment, like this, it's crazy, because, for example, I've invested like the last 9 months really going hard on installing the habit of doing physical training and keeping it, because until that I was like 6 months in, 3 out, 3, stuff like that. So I decided to reprogram myself on doing that. But the greatest hack, and I didn't have that occasion before, but if I had to start right now, for example, with the physical training, he has his own gym in the terrace. I don't know if you saw, it's amazing. Like, there's both the pool and the gym in the terrace, so you can wake up and go gym, pool in like 4 meters even. But the crazy thing is that if you come there like tonight and you see tomorrow morning, everybody in that home, everybody in the team is doing physical exercise or meditating or something for their health. And so if you go into a social environment where the habits you hope to install are the basic, you feel shame if you don't do it. And that's the stronger thing to have in order to do stuff. If like you are the only one not making money in your group, you're like, oh my God, I have to figure this out.
I wouldn't say really making money, but maybe thinking about doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you're not yet, but if you are motivated, then it's good. But maybe you're not making money because you're not thinking about business, or you're thinking about money. So if you are, if any new team member that maybe will come in the future, come to my house with all the team members, and we're always talking about business. We have all the glasses, all the
written with
written
stuff. All the ocean view is written.
Everything is written on glasses and stuff, so they will feel like they need to do it, and they either align or they isolate themselves. So I believe that environment is
social
a big part.
It's amazing.
And if you imagine this, like going deeper in this is one day will be company's culture. Like you're setting now with your core team, you're setting everything about, it's a culture. It's not just doing exercise or doing 3 reps of that.
Absolutely.
It's one day when, let's say, if this project will bring to a great team, and a greater team in terms of number of people, this will be your culture, because one day you will be completely out probably from the company, but the company has to reflect
to reflect
the
values.
Those values, those principles.
Because otherwise it's just
absolutely.
We already had this like in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, we are talking about it. We were talking about it in November, in December, and now also, because these are the first months together since October. And of course there are some things that need to be installed, because I never had a big team. It's the first time.
It's speed. Like the last year was speed.
And now you, of course, see some things that I need to manage better, that we need to manage better as a team, that some habits or thoughts that we need to install all together. And that's really, really important, because if we do it now in the first 6 months, then 2 years from now, all the new people that are coming in, they're already coming in an environment where those are the values. So absolutely,
it's kind of the expectations of the clients we were discussing before, but in a different environment actually.
Yeah.
But it's key, and we've seen that like in the beginning of the year, for example, one member of the team was like, guys, thanks to your perspective and your focus on physical training, I decided to put in my yearly goals, in my yearly stuff to do, like for 2023. Never done this before, but I want to focus on my health in a bigger way, because you as a group is doing that. And this is amazing even to see, people switching the beliefs and saying, fuck that, I'm gonna focus on that too. And it's really improving the culture of the company. So
and it's easier because everybody around you is probably doing that. So
and
you feel this easier.
That. If you go in another group of people eating McDonald's and Burger King every single day, and you say, I decided to do physical training this year, they start laughing like, what the fuck are you doing? Go eat your Big Mac. But for us, it will always be like supporting anybody that wants to start that part.